Welcome to the Woodshed with Cody Wood on the Equus Radio Network, where some amazing guests stop in, share their stories, and have a few laughs along the way. From the rodeo road to everyday life, it's all part of the ride. Here's your host, Cody Wood.
On a great Friday, round number 9 of the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. I love all sports, football, baseball, UFC, wrestling. It does not matter, but there is maybe nothing better than the National Finals Rodeo, especially when you're talking about round 9 and getting ready to go into round 10. It is getting awfully good, awfully fast. Cannot wait for this night to get going. We've already had some great guests here throughout the day here on the Woodshed, but we have got another fantastic guest for you right now, and a great opportunity to learn about the real estate market, the land and ranch market specifically. And if you happen to be an agent or thinking about becoming an agent, some of the different opportunities that are in the world for you as well. But this is a great opportunity. I'm so happy that she's here right now. Folks, this is Rachel Ryan with EXP Realty Land Ranch.
Thank you, Cody. That was a nice little introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's all these other accolades I could have gone into, but I figured I'd wait for us to get into it. But thank you so much for swinging by and chatting with us. You know, I've had the opportunity to work with you and your team and Taryn King and in a couple of different ways, and I just absolutely love what you guys are doing for a multitude of reasons. But EXP Realty, obviously one of the great brands in real estate, one of the great businesses, and then now here with the Land and Ranch division and what you all have been able to accomplish in such a short period of time.
Amen.
Has been pretty incredible.
Yeah. So I feel super blessed because I've been in real estate for about 8 years now, and kind of just stumbled into that. And when I found EXP, that was like the perfect model for what I needed to do. Grew up in a little town, but I'm a ranch girl through and through. And I was a radio DJ, did country music for 14 years. And so I kind of had that aspect of it. And when I met Taryn King, kind of a God thing, coincidence thing, we were talking about putting together this other division of land and ranch and farms and undeveloped ground, and basically how do we sell dirt and how do we put this together in a way that makes sense. And so we kind of just started brainstorming a lot of time at night and when everybody was sleeping, families are asleep, and we have really come a long ways in the last 8 months. So it's super exciting to see what we're building together with our team at EXP.
8 months is, in the overall scheme of things, is really not very long.
No.
And when to watch, some of the successes that you've had over that course of that time, I mean, whether it's just people and their testimonials on social media and different things, other agents, and the opportunity for other agents to kind of build their own particular business, their own brand inside that EXP model is one. I think it's rewarding from an entrepreneurial perspective. You have a lot of control, a lot of opportunity, what you put in, what you get out type of situation. But then the income potential in that in itself is staggering. Really, it adds up really quickly.
Yeah. So anybody who's, never heard of EXP, or maybe doesn't know a whole lot about it, you're exactly right. So the model itself as a real estate brokerage, it's a virtual brokerage. It's a cloud-based brokerage. So regardless if you're a one-man show or you got a whole team, there's these building blocks within the program that incentivizes you so that it rewards you and you walk away with more money in your pocket at work. You can brand yourself. So like I'm Rachel Ryan Real Estate with EXP, Land and Ranch Specialist. But it just gives you more leeway as far as that goes. And what we wanted to do with the Land and Ranch side specifically is create this camaraderie so that agents who are selling real estate in places like where I am in Salmon, Idaho, little pin on the map, in the scoop of Idaho, the heart of Idaho, as I call it, that feel like, hey, like we're in a small area, we're in a very rural area, and we don't feel like we have a support system, right? Smaller population, there's not a lot of people, and we wanted to create a group that would help, obviously, promote your real estate, promote you as a business owner and as that entrepreneur, and give you those tools and support. And so that's what Taryn and I started building. And now we have this entire agent advisory council crew, this leadership group of people from all over the United States. And we meet on Zoom. We get to meet in person a couple times a year, but otherwise we're meeting weekly on Zoom, and gives us an opportunity to say, okay, what do our agents within EXP Land and Ranch Division need, and some of the marketing tools. It's tough to sell real estate.
Yeah.
I mean, you work a lot of hours for free, and a lot of deals fall through, and you have your phone glued to your ear, and you have to be available 24/7, it seems like, or you might miss out. And there's just a lot of stress and overhead with that. And so we've tried to create this division where we have this marketing platform. We've teamed up with a ton of really cool vendors, Land ID and horseproperties.net. And, some of these big real estate companies that help promote, that normally you'd have to pay for a fee, or, go on and enter your listings one by one, that's hours and hours and hours of time putting together your templates and your packages and just a lot of the marketing material. And we've tried to go in and identify all those pain points from the agent standpoint and say, okay, here's all the tools you need by joining us to be able to just jump on and go. And for somebody who's never sold land and ranch, but maybe wants to, or, tired of the regular real estate grind, then we've tried to make it easy for them too. So
yeah, that's a perfect leeway and segment into kind of where I was going with that too, because you mentioned that you're all over the country, and again in an 8-month period to be able to impact so many different pockets of the United States, and a lot of our viewers here on Equus Television, I've mentioned it before, on the East Coast, and some of them in Western Europe even. So whether they're looking for something in their home base now over on the East Coast, or even looking to go west and some of the different opportunities and large different lots of land or ranches or farmland, they can find somebody just about anywhere.
Yeah, so that's one really cool thing about EXP within the real estate realm. A lot of people don't understand that if you live in South Carolina and you're wanting to move to Montana, you got to physically drive out to Montana and start looking around. And the process starts, weeks, months, maybe even years when you're talking about these large ranches and tracts of land. Within EXP, we have a really great referral network. So if there's an agent that you've been working with in your state and you want to look somewhere else, they actually can help you find another agent within that network of individuals and start that process of looking. And then you get to fly out and jump in the side by side and go do the fun part. Yeah,
definitely.
Cast a line in the creek and go fishing or whatever, go ride horses. Yeah.
Find that next home.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's huge. And we do have, about 90,000 agents within EXP all over the globe.
Yeah.
And so, you think about the majority of those are in the United States. And we've had a lot of success in a short period of time with our land and ranch division on the East Coast. We've got a couple of really great agents that are really hot and on fire right now as far as like listing tracts of land. And we're talking, I think sometimes that, people get stuck in the mindset of, bare land is for subdivisions or development properties. And you sometimes forget about, how do you market and how do you, put it out there for a hunting property, or somebody just wants a half acre, along the creek or along the river, and place they can put their camper. So, within the land and ranch division, we have a ton of opportunities for these hunting properties and these recreation properties with lakes and, all kinds of things, skiing and, forest, BLM, public lands, not just the development and not just farmers and ranchers.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because that was one of the things I really wanted to kind of hit on, because I think there's a lot of those different nuances that people just don't think originally, right? And there's so many other opportunities that you guys can help them with. And when you're looking at the market as a whole right now too, I just absolutely love this conversation. I love real estate in general, but I when you're looking at the market and some of the craziness of the world at times and where it's at right now, where there's, in residential specifically, but then also when you look at it from a land and ranch perspective, how is it right now? What are some of the obstacles that you're overcoming, and what are some of the bright spots that you see coming down the road?
Well, I have a big smile on my face.
Good, yeah.
Because I love to talk about this too.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right. So most people follow the residential real estate trends, right? And so the conversation in those types of scenarios are, what's the interest rate? And, and you have kind of two groups of people, and you have the people that are focusing on the interest rates, and you have the people that are focusing on well, the Fed's dropped. Well, that doesn't mean that regular interest rates drop. But the cool thing is we work with so many lenders that are ag-based and rural, that's different funding and different lending. And they've started to put out different programs just with the way things are happening in our world and in our country to kind of compensate for the traditional way of real estate. It's
very good.
So you think about, there's no more dirt, it's like,
I love it.
That's all there is. And
Yep.
so if it comes available, they're not making any more of it. And if it becomes available, there's always that ebb and flow of everyone scoops it up and it's overpriced, or, you can't get rid of it fast enough and you're sitting on it, just with the economy. And it's really fascinating to me because right now on the residential side, in a lot of rural communities, like even my own hometown in Southeast Idaho, where I spend a lot of my time, the residential side is slowed down because of things that are happening politically and in the economy. And we've seen an upturn of these ranches and these farms and these large tracts of land.
Yeah, interesting.
And me, I will focus a lot on regional. So I'm in the West. That's going to be, where I'm seeing more of. And by the West, I mean, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, mostly. It's kind of Colorado. It's kind of the area that I focus on. But we're seeing all these properties popping up that have been third generation, fourth generation families. And I would say there was about the last 10 years that I thought, man, their son or their daughter, they have 6 or 8 kids, are going to inherit the ranch and carry on, and there's not going to be anything to sell. And there's a difference in the mindset of this 4th, 5th generation, and they have no clue what they're getting into. They don't understand. They don't understand the farming aspect. They don't understand conservation. They don't understand water rights. They don't understand easements. They just don't understand anything that has to do with the soil and the dirt and these properties, and they're overwhelmed. And so when mom, dad, or grandma or grandpa says, we're done, or they pass away, and that's what I've been dealing with in my own neck of the woods, a lot of state type stuff. The kids don't know what to do with it, and they don't even know where to turn. And that's been really interesting because sometimes real estate agents get a bad rep, and you stick a sign in the dirt and you walk away and that's all you got. And part of my passion and part of what I've been kind of turning to do is educate people in general, and this younger generation that spends their time on Facebook and social media and in front of their phones, like, hey, who do you call when you have questions? And it's not just when you want to sell it. Maybe it's just transitioning between these generations, and how do you go about it, and what's going to be economically feasible. And, they might not want 2,000 acres, but they also don't want to subdivide it, and they don't know what conservation easements are about. And it's really important right now in our industry for real estate agents to have the right tools to educate the consumer, in my opinion.
Because even if the agent, maybe they're not a pro at that one specific topic.
They don't have to be a pro.
They don't have to be a pro.
You don't have to be a pro. You just have to know where to go and, who to talk to and utilize those tools. And so back to the, EXP Land and Ranch, like that's kind of the whole point, and one whole leg of what we have tried to create is a symposium and an educational training platform within our division dashboard, where we talk about, here's 20 minutes just on water rights versus water shares. What does that look like in the West versus the East? What do riparian rights mean compared to, something else? And
it's just a wealth of knowledge and resources.
There's just so much that you can talk about.
Yeah.
And even if you've lived it, if you grew up on a ranch, you grew up on a farm, you grew up having a hunting property, or, you know, you just went out and did that on Thanksgiving break at grandma and grandpa's house. You know, I mean, there's so much to talk about. Me personally, I grew up on a Black Angus registered cattle ranch, right there in Salmon, Idaho. And we have an annual bull sale, and we sell about 120, 130 bulls and so my family is what's called a seed stock producer. But, you know, we didn't just start that, you know, like you think about the generations, and you're talking about how these people in the ag industry get started. And this is really important as an agent to understand the thinking behind these generations, right?
Oh, yeah.
So like my great grandpa, Rafe Nelson, moved to Salmon to farm potatoes. And he bought 40 acres and they farmed potatoes. And that was back in the 40s, 30s, 40s. And they trucked them to California. And that was when there were Native Americans living in the community, and they were the ones sorting the spuds and sewing the gunny sack shut. And they stamped on, you know, my grandpa's logo, and they stuck it on a truck and they hauled it to California at russet, you know, potatoes from Salmon, Idaho. So like when you think about that, and then, you know, you're sitting having a conversation with someone, whether they're a buyer or a seller or whatever in the real estate side of things, you know, when you can understand and identify with, okay, like this is a legacy and this is a family heritage and this is something they're proud of, and you get a little bit of that information from them and can understand, I feel like it's helpful to then say, okay, so, you know, we're selling this piece of ground that farmed potatoes. So then you can start getting into the soils and the crop production and figure out what questions to ask, you know, if you're not familiar with it. And then like in my family scenario, they've transitioned to the seed stock producer in the bull business. And so then you're talking about, you know, how many animals can you run, and is it all deeded ground, or, you know, are there grazing permits? And so there's just so much information that I mean, you can't even talk about in any amount of settings, but what's cool is you can say, you know, I know so-and-so is really great at this and so-and-so is really great at this.
Yep. Which not just the agents of EXP is going to benefit from being able to reach out to those resources and to have that knowledge, but then your clients on the other hand are going to really benefit from it. So whether they're buying or selling, they have a reputable agent that has all those resources to them at their disposal is just really valuable. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also too, as the agent, you know, you have this resource list of vendors, right? So you're building relationships. It's all about relationships and networking. And I'm telling you what, I have met some of the coolest people in the most random places. And if I didn't have my, you know, kind of mindset turned on and my brain turned on to go, you know, like I'm here to network with people regardless of where I'm at. It's amazing who's come around later, made a phone call and said, hey, you know, remember I met you on that train, or I met you on that plane, or
wearing that cow suit.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
The cow suit. Yes. The Highland blow up inflatable.
Yeah, I know. You wore it well though.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it works, right? You know, so I think in the end, it's important for people to know that we have resources and vendors and partnerships with a lot of people in different industries that could be helpful no matter what part of the real estate process you're in. Even if you're, I mean, I've had people call, clients and customers call, and they say, you know, hey, like I need somebody that's good with taxes that can figure this out. Can you help me and lead me in the right direction? You know, that's really not my lane. I can't give them advice, but I can say I've worked with these individuals, and, you know, this is who I would suggest. And you just never know when that connection will be meaningful and needed and
useful, because it's a daunting, I mean, you know, for just the everyday, you know, homeowner, let's say, you know, and they've had this dream, especially now, right? There's so
the American dream.
Yeah, the American dream. and right now the idea of homesteading and all the different things that come with it, you know, I mean, it's very popular, and, you know, people probably have this dream, but they don't have that confidence to take that next step and to actually pursue that process, because it can be a little overwhelming or whatnot, you know, but
even think about, like, you know, gardening, growing your own food. I mean, I grew up, like, we always had a big garden, and I dreaded it. You know, it was like, oh, I got to go out and weed 3 rows of corn, you know? And I was like, please, Dad, can I come out in the tractor and bale hay? Like, I did not like doing the garden work, but it creates this appreciation and kind of the cycle of life, right? And, you know, you start talking about where does your food come from? And that's a big discussion and a big topic right now. And again, using the cattle, example, just because that's what I'm familiar with. But, you have all these ranchers that are shipping cows. Cattle prices have been through the roof. And to the consumer, they go to the grocery store and they buy a steak, or they try to buy, a couple steaks. And they're like, man, this is expensive, $25 a pound or whatever it is. And they just assume that cattle rancher, is getting that money. Yeah. And it's like the whole process, from shipping them off and sending them to the feedlot, but also feeding through the winter, and the prices of hay. And you think about the weather and crop production, and, how that is affected regionally, and which kind of hay is grown in Florida in comparison to, Idaho, and, the shipping costs and the trucking costs. And there's just so many things. And, the average rancher is like 65, and he's not retiring. He's going out in 20 below, 60 below with the wind chill in Montana, week, and feeding cows all winter. And, he might be lucky if he makes 40,000, honestly, for the year. And so it's just interesting how, regardless, sometimes people think, oh, real estate and farming and ranching and land, it doesn't apply to me because I'm going to live in a house, on a 1/4 acre lot in a subdivision in a city. But, you start talking about some of those things. Where did your food come from? And, people start getting intrigued about that and say, well, I'd like to do that. How do I do that?
Yeah.
And it is attainable.
Yeah. And it impacts us all, and it is attainable. And at the end of the day, it's a better way to live too, right? Who knows what you're taking in on some of these different places that you go. But, when it comes to, finding some new listings, I'm, chatting with Taryn and some of those things, it sounds like there's some really beautiful horse properties and things that are coming up and whatnot. But, what is the best way to, I guess, see what's out there right now in the market, and also the best way for somebody out there either wanting to be an agent or an agent currently and looking for a better home? Where's the best place for them to go?
Well, I could be selfish and direct them to my personal website.
Right. There you go.
If you want to come out west, heartofidaholiving.com. Yeah. But in general, if you literally just do on your search, EXP Land and Ranch, we have a website that pops up, and there's a little tab that you can find an agent, so there's an agent directory. It tells you can search by state, you can search by name. So if you go, I want to be in Montana, go search up an agent. You can do that. You can also search for properties that way as well. But honestly, our Land and Ranch platform is so focused on helping maximize the exposure to these listings, whether it's horse properties, hunting, recreational, farms, ranches, development. I mean, for heaven's sakes, we got a gold mine that we're getting ready to list in Colorado. A literal gold mine. And some big names in the industry in beer and, some of these other big companies that are globally recognized. We have some listings coming up in some of our Western states as well for places like that. So I think sellers are starting to see the benefits of listing with EXP Land and Ranch. We offer more exposure, but if you're going on land.com or Land USA, Land Watch, horseproperties.net, any of those specifics, even Crexy, Moody's, I can't even list them all. They're all on those sites, syndicated as well. But
yeah, perfect.
But if somebody just searched EXP Land and Ranch, you could go any state, find an agent, and you'd be set.
Well, I sure do appreciate you making the time to come through here. It's a crazy week here with the NFR.
NFR is always wild.
It is. And after all these days, they all start to blend together or whatnot. But it has been awfully fun. And I sure do appreciate you taking the time to come in and chat. Because like I said, it's a fun conversation just to talk business and real estate in general. But man, if there's somebody out there listening and has a chance to, capture that American dream or whatnot, and to go through it, smoothly, confidently, and stress-free. Yeah. They can do all that with EXP Land Ranch.
We're your crew.
That's right.
And if it's an agent, and you're going, I just don't feel like I have a purpose where I'm at, or I'm looking for something different, like, we're open to conversation. Again, no pressure. That's the other thing that I love about our whole division and group. And me personally, I can really only speak for myself, but Life's tough. And I think it's really important to focus on the good and focus on the positive. And part of my purpose in life is just to make sure that every single person that I come in contact with, no matter how big or small, real estate or otherwise related, knows that they matter and that every day is a great day for a great day.
That's
so,
right.
you know,
love that. Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much, Rachel. I really appreciate
come on,
it.
you know I'm a hugger,
know,
bro.
Come on, come on. Yeah, I really appreciate you making the time and
Thank
coming
you
in
for having
here.
me.
It is, like I said, you guys have been so awesome to work with and supported the team pinning world at the Days of 47, the Utah
We
Team
loved it.
Pinning Cup. And
We'll be back.
Yep. And now here we are at the NFR and getting ready to go into 2026. So have a great 2026 and look forward to catching up again, hopefully on another great episode. But right now, we are wrapping up a great day here. I know it has been back to back episodes here with the Woodshed and Cody Wood on Equus Television, Equus Radio Network. But again, if you are looking to get into real estate, whether you're looking to buy, sell, lease, or just becoming an agent or already an agent, there's no better place to look than EXP Land and Ranch. I'm telling you, this has been a great group, high energy group, all sorts of positivity, and just make the whole process that much better and a great place to work as well. But right now, it's round 9. Cannot wait for this evening. Every single event has got a storyline playing out right now. It's going to get really, really good in each and every one of them. You know, some of these races, whether it's the all-round race, which is getting awfully interesting as well after what happened in round 6, whether it's the bull riding, the barrel racing, everything is coming together here tonight. Round 9, and it'll set up a big-time championship Saturday night for round 10. So y'all have a fantastic time, whether you're here in Las Vegas on a Friday night or just at home celebrating the NFR. We hope to see you on the next episode of The Woodshed with Cody Wood.
If you enjoyed the podcast, let us know. Contact Cody Wood at cody@equustelevision.net. Thanks for listening, and join us every week right here on the Equus Radio Network.